Exodus protocols reversed. Orbital frontal section reattached. Running diagnostics. Corrosion minimal. Ah. All seals holding.
Ordis?
Stasis protocols lifted. Systems coming back online. Cephalon refit complete. Ready for operational cross-check.
It's good to be back, Ordis.
Good to have you back, operator. Systems cross-check when you're ready. Looking forward to
tearing Ballas in half.
finding the Lotus. Warframe vitals strong, warming up nicely. I've taken the liberty of rebuilding the paracesis. Transference signal strong. Oh, joy. This thing seems to have survived stasis.
Hungry, no doubt.
The Nama fleet seems to be redeploying. Sensors show Murex clustering past Mercury. What is Ballas up to?
Cetus. She's going to Cetus. She wants that Murex.
Going after Ballast, then? Some kind of vengeance precept? Ordis had no idea she was strong enough for such a confrontation.
She isn't. Not even close. We have to stop her, Ordis.
All right. The only way to reach that Murex undetected is up through the tower. We must speak with Konzu. Oh no. Konzu's been afflicted with one of those wretched Nama veils.
Tear off the lying mask!
We must pull that oversized sentient leech from atop the Tower of Unum. Help the others as you helped me, Sura. I shall find a way.
Master Tease and I is forever at your service.
Sura! Quickly now! Come to the air dock! Hurry, Oops! Fly, my friend. Stay out of their gaze. Fly, my friend. Stay out of their gaze.
Locals believe this tower to be inhabited by a great spirit they call the Unum.
and that she sees time all at once. I think it's just a metaphor.
Sura, do not harm any whom you could save. Remnant.
Ordis, you picking up anything strange?
Nothing on my sensors. Keep in mind, Operator, this was your idea. Plunder her temple, Kuva. Sura, Kanzu begs you, find a way to reinvigorate her before it is too late. She lives! Sura! She lives!
Alright, so this is the bullshit I'm talking about. They've made this game like a year ago and they still haven't fixed those bugs inside this place. I'm wondering why I can't do some double jumps and certain things within the mission. Why, when I'm sprinting with my operator, I'm sliding. I'm not sliding forward. That's because they haven't... There's a bug, an interrupting bug. You will have to go into your options menu to execute that. That bug really messed everything up. I mean, I'm pretty sure they've seen it, and they probably put in certain things, such as you going into menu options to get rid of the bug. But the fact that you will have to do that just to get rid of that bug, it means they never fixed the actually cool off why that bug is. They just put something in to bypass it. So that little struggle there is an example of new work still not being completely fixed. But they put other secondary options for you to bypass it. So at least that's okay. Otherwise I would have gone on a rant and said, okay, this came out in 2021 of December. And we're now in March, and we're going into April, so that's 3 months now and you haven't actually fixed those issues. I know they have lots of bugs, and see, you have to understand this is from a point of view of things that are called MMORPGs, and the problem with MMORPGs is that they all have massive bugs, because it's like a continuation of a story over and over again. It's a goddamn time limit. Okay, I had no idea there was a time limit. I guess there is a time limit. Screw it. I ain't fighting nobody. Where's the next one? That's 2.
Arc's trajectory increasing on vector heading 0 by 0 by 0. Right toward the main armor fleet, passing Mercury. One against so many, there's no way she'll get through.
Is not your fight, Tenno. Ballas is mine.
You're not ready! He has manipulated you for so long! It's just to own you. Like he owns every other Narmer.
You are warned. Keep to your place.
Blockade ahead. She's completely outnumbered, outgunned. What? By stars. They're lowering shields. She still has some command of the fleet.
But not the one ship Ballas now controls. The great sentient weapon of the old war. Do you know what she was called? Pergasa. The Devourer.
Yes, we know it. The ship that feeds on debris and derelicts to rebuild itself.
Please. You're not thinking straight. You need more time to heal.
There is no time, no mercy for Narmer. Pragasa must be stopped before Ballas can fulfill her original purpose. Pragasa cannot be allowed to feed. The sun.
Tenno, but no time for reminiscing. We are under attack. Target-rich environment. Get on those guns. fangs. Time for the big gun. Get on it. Gravimetrics are chaotic. At current rate, this railjack will burn on approach. Weird. That thing appears to be eating the sun.
We have got to stop it! What if we approach using the wrecked ships as cover?
Priority. Get close enough to execute slingshot maneuver. Time transitions with solar flare events for maximum cover. Engines locked. Shields burning away. Watch your vector.
My people, long have you waited for the sign. I have delivered it. Look to the sky. It grows darker by the moment. That darkness gathers strength, strength enough to open the void and bear me onward to Sacred Tau.
Gravitational waves increasing. Helm will feel sloppy. Integrity critical. This railjack is cooking. Hug the shadows or we are done.
What will become of you, my people? My flock. You will join me there, of course, but by another path. The path of sacrifice, the path of oblivion, cleansed of all doubt, for you will peer into pitch of day and find the sun is gone. Its heart-rendered, beating in my hand, the cost of my passage. We are...
Crew, brace for shockwave. Hull breached. Sealed. Railjack integrity restored. Entering slingshot range. Orphix pulse fields detected aboard. Get a necromech in the barrel. You will need it.
Alright, Sai. Get clear after launch.
My father was right. But it's too late. I cannot stop Ballas. No one can. Soon, my people, and yours too, will all be destroyed for the pride of one man. Follow me. Reaches him, he will make her his puppet. Together, they will annihilate the sun. And so, my sister must...
I know! Maybe if she was stronger, we wouldn't have to.
again. Give her enough strength to resist.
Understood. Thank you.
What a glorious reunion. You and Mother Dearest both come to send me on my way. I am ready, Tenno. Are you? Kneel! Kneel, and I will spare these worlds. Beg, and I will make you complete again.
I had something different in mind.
I loved you once. You were so like her.
You dreamed of a Margulis you could control, but she chose death over you. I said to stay out of this.
But you can't, can you? Still desperate to save her from herself. You never truly knew her, did you? What she most needs.
No!
Why do you make me do these things? Say, I love you, my master.
I love you, my master.
Now, kill your child. For me. There's a good girl. Repair the hurt you have dealt us. Have dealt me.
No! No!
To have a child. And with an open heart, I gave you this. And my reward? Being left to watch as all your love, my love, poured into the bottomless well of this abominable child.
Remember my old self dissolving beneath your fingers, shaping me, directing me. Lua.
Let's discuss what I did. I, who have endured your torture of me, your lies, your betrayals without complaint. All for you. And this is my reward.
You lie. You are small.
Pitiful. I am loved.
You are a mask with nothing behind it.
Broken thing. A puppet accusing her maker of a lack of substance, was it? Very well. She can take your punishment for you.
Stop. Spare them. Spare them. And I will be whatever you want.
Shut up! You are making me do this. And when this child is dead, you and I will have words. feel pain, all lies. Broken thing. A puppet accusing her maker of a lack of substance, was it? Very well. She can take your punishment for you. Broken thing. A puppet accusing her maker of a lack of substance, was it? Very well. Can take your punishment for you. Pitiful, broken thing. A puppet accusing her maker of a lack of substance, was it? Very well. She can take your punishment for you. Broken thing. A puppet accusing her maker of a lack of substance, was it? Very well. She can take your punishment for you. Broken thing. A puppet accusing her maker of a lack of substance, was it? can take your punishment for you. Broken thing. A puppet accusing her maker of a lack of substance, was it? Take your punishment for you. Broken thing. A puppet accusing her maker of a lack of substance, was it? Very well. She can take your punishment for you. Pitiful, broken thing. A puppet accusing her maker of a lack of substance, was it? Very well. She can take your punishment for you. Broken thing. A puppet accusing her maker of a lack of substance, was it? Very well. She can take your punishment for you.
Alright, so this is another one of the bullshit I'm talking about. So in order to hit him, you have to void dash through him and then hit him. But the point of void dash is that the void dash goes too far and then you go off the ledge. And plus with the paracesis, you're using the paracesis to do damage towards him. It's not taking enough health. So that seems to be one of the main problems with regards to this game. The accuracy when it comes to void dashing, you would have to. I mean, you don't really have to void dash. It's just that you have to transfer. See, it's confusing in a way because it says you have to, like, if you've played it before, it says you have to void dash through them. Like when she says she'll take your punishment for you, says you have to go behind them and void dash through them. But I'm not even sure if you're supposed to go behind them and void dash through them. Now think about it. I'm going to look around the vicinity if I remember clearly how you're supposed to actually play this, because this is a QTE event. This is not exactly how you're supposed to beat them physically. You have to pay attention to certain things in your surroundings and then beat them. And the last time I didn't remember that, so maybe there's something within the surroundings that I might have to pay attention to in order to do it. So that's what I'm going to do. Otherwise, I'll be here all day with this bullshit. And there's nothing to indicate that there's something around them that you need to blast. So I have to make sure I pay attention to my surroundings and see what specifically. There's no specific indication. You'll have to figure this out. This last battle you have to figure out for yourself, because there's no indication whatsoever. So I believe you have to either transference near him or void dash near him, then do some type of damage near him. The other ones were easy, but you have to figure maybe there's something around the area there's no indication, so it's not very good to describe how you got to do damage to him, because my paracesis is pretty strong and Rhino is pretty strong, so it doesn't really make sense why certain things are happening. So I might have to look into that a little bit more. So I'll see. Alright, so it's just as I said. There's something else within the vicinity that I didn't see. It's one of those floating things, Narmer. Floating, the same ones I was hitting before, but I didn't notice them. I thought I was supposed to directly fight him before. Apparently he's supposed to hit it with his stupid ray thing. And then you go after him once he breaks one of them. So that's what I'm going to do.
Broken thing. A puppet accusing her maker of a lack of substance, was it? Very well. She can take your punishment for you.
Alice, stop. Spare them. Spare them. And I will be whatever you want.
Shut up! You are making me do this. And when this child is dead, you and I will have words. Can't feel pain or lies. You never understood me, my vision. My future lies with Tao. Not here, not with you.
Stop. Stop.
This coming. Do not interfere again. I cast you from my sight, Lotus.
You see, it's something that's stupid. I thought it would be something like you could actually get to fight the boss on an interactive level, but something that stupid.
Very well. I give you my death, and yours as well. The unstoppable annihilation of every single last thing. Pleased? Satisfied? Are you now full up with death? My vision was only ever comprehensible to myself. My ambition beyond the grasp of people. Thus, I have always been alone. Your death changes nothing. People warned me against you, you know, early on, before the Jade Light. I should have listened.
Child. Run!
Run? Where should they run to? You've only destroyed everything! Alone at last. Now, kneel. You monstrous bitch!
Alice, my love.
Margulis.
Kiss me. I thought I was Nata, Margulis. Lotus?
That's up to you. He's gone.
You. Thank you.
At the end, what did you see?
I saw... nothing. Nothing.
We've got work to do. Narmer's shattered, but they've got a martyr now. And the old guard are already eager to fill the vacuum. If you're ready.
I'm not sure. There are voices. I am not one.
I know. But maybe you could choose one voice to lead the others, it's your choice.
Has divided the world, leaving a deep wound. We need healing. I am Margulis.
Messages in your inbox, operator. They are not as encrypted as they should be. I've been thinking, operator. I thought you'd want to know.
And that's it for the new war. Now, as you notice, the moment I stopped the new war quest, region chat, localization, recruitment, and trading automatically became available. All these four things. Now, the only way to get these four things to pop up is to switch from the current quest that you're in, New War, after you finish it, into another quest, and then only then will these things pop up. So I had to make sure I switch back to the Wave Rider quest. So now that that's over, and my personal thoughts with regards to New War, like I said, it's better than the War Within, but it's not better than Second Dream. It's a long quest, 5-hour quest. Its intro is the best part. The first 25% of the story is the best part of the story. And midway, things starts to get more complicated and interesting with the introduction of eternalism. And with your doppelganger self, that's not from the future, but from an alternate timeline. It's kind of like a low-key variant of yourself. After you got sucked into the void, time was split, where two existing realities came into being. Why? It's because that's what the void is. Void is not just a place that you go inside and all of a sudden you get powers and then come back into the real world and you're a Tenno, able to operate a Warframe. No, the void is a place where time is different. Time isn't linear. It's split into multiple factions or multiple locations or multiple realities. So the void is a place where reality has infinite possibilities, infinite place, just like in the explanation of the Zerman kids through interactive system. If one parent die and another parent survives, does that mean that only one parent is alive and the other parent is dead? Well, in one reality that is true, because physically that parent is no longer amongst them physically. But in the other reality, though the person's body dies in one, the consciousness of the other person's physical self and knowledge of their physical self is kept safe within the void, and thus they could live on, whether it's in another body or replicate themselves physically into another form of who they are, whether it's an older form of themselves or they're saved and their physical self is just replicated or duplicated, and they remember the last thing that happened to themselves, so they just grew up in a different area, unable to live in this existence anymore, because what aspects of themselves have been removed from the self, but what aspects that remains of themselves, duplication, can only be rendered within that new existing plane. It's like making a copy of an image. It's the same image, same everything of the image, but its extension is just labeled part 2, because it cannot be part 1 again, because part 1 only is only a part 1. You can have duplicates, but you can't be in the same era at the same time. It must be in a separate slot at a separate time, but it could look exactly the same and be exactly the same. It's like having your own personal clone, but it's not exactly a clone. It's simply another reality representation of yourself, set in a different world created by the void, or unlock a different aspects of this world where certain these haven't happened. So that's what it is. That's what the drifter is. The drifter, which is represented in here, you're classified into 2 categories. You're classified into operator, and you're classified into the drifter. Now the drifter is this character right here, and how things work differently with the drifter is you get to have your same weapons, your same weapons that you have as your same modifications as you have within your amp, but those modifications are now adapted and placed onto your weapon that you're using. You're not using the amp anymore, but in this reality your amp, which is this, is now shown to be a gun, which is this. So if I select this, this is what is shown. If I select the gun, this is what is shown. You notice, even though the multi-amp design is different, the gun is still represented the same. It still shows the same gun, because that's, no matter what you picked, he will still use the gun because you are using the power of the amp, everything that comes with the amp. But in this reality, you cannot physically, anything in this reality cannot physically look like what's in the other reality. It cannot look that way because they're two different time frames. They could use the same thing, same type of adaptive force, but they can't physically be the exact same. That's why my mods are still the same, and the name for my mods and name for my weapons are the same, but the physical skin of the weapon cannot look the same because they're not exactly the same, which makes sense. Just like your focus tree is the same and everything in focus trees is the same, because those are non-physical things attached to this world that the drifter is in. These are just elemental aspects that you could use, or powers that you could use in either world, so they will always remain the same. But anything that's of a physical capabilities in this world has to look the same. That's why your ship in this world can still look the same. The design of your ship and everything you have in your ship can look the same, similar, because they're all inanimate objects. And he could traverse back and forth into your world, and you could do the same thing, but you can't traverse into his world. I guess that's how they set it up. It should have been something that you'd be able to traverse back and forth in each other's world. But since he's not actually here, he's still in his world. The transference allow him, since our operators in this world, allows him to switch over and come into our world. See, now the operator has switched back into, this is the operator in this world. So when you select the drifter, it's like he decided to shake hand with himself, and now he transfers over into our world. But when you select the drifter and select everything from the drifter, if you notice, even though your ship and everything inanimate is the same, it seems like the vegetation and the world, however, is different. A good example would be anything that's mass, that's alive, is, see, you have the drifter camp. So certain things, a lot of things on Earth, or on his Earth, are the same. But if I switch, so if I switch back to operator, will the same drifter things pop up? Now that's a good idea to check that out, because I never saw that before. I never checked that out before. So if his camp does pop up even in this world, it means the power of your duality is the dual places. See, the drifter is dual place. It's not something that's limited to location. You could still go to the drifter's camp even as your operator in this world, like you would in his world. I guess that's the neat little way of them saying, hey, you want to actually go to this location? We're going to put it in here, and you can go to the location regardless of what operator form you're in. What would be interesting is if our tenant was able to go into his world, or his location. But like I said, it's not like he's going into a different world. So it's like a mirror dimension. So everything that you see, planets, locations, are all mirrored. You see, once I selected his location, I go to the drifter's location. Once I go to his location, I guess that's a signal to indicate that that's a specific location that the void allows you to traverse into their world. Because now you cannot see his location anymore because we are already here. Everything else seems to be the same. All the planets, everything. But you don't see, if you notice, you do not see, once you traverse the Drifter's location, you do not see the sentient ship's location. And you do not see the Kuva fortress. That's because we're not technically in his world. I mean, in our world, we're now in his world. Though many things are the same, still certain things are different. Because we're not actually, once we went to the Drifter's location, we're not actually in our world anymore. We're now in the Drifter's world. We could do missions in the Drifter's world, sure. But they will all be associated with things that happen after Narmer. It won't exactly be the same things that we could aspire to do when we're playing the game on its operator mode. Every mission that's going to be done is going to be done from the point of view of his world, his dimension. So that said, if we want to return back to our world, we just switch over to our operator mode. And switch from the operator into the Drifter. And now the Drifter is back in his own home world, I guess you could say that. And then we just leave this location. The Drifter's in this. We could just leave this planet and then head back to our ship. And to do that, you just go to. You could just go to your dojo. Your main dojo. Once you leave that location, once you leave the Drifter's hideout, you've now exited out of his dimension and you're back into your own world. So that's one of the ways to, if you're a little confused on the difference between knowing what world you're in, when you enter the Drifter's location on Earth, you're in his world. So things are going to be very different in his world. Whether you're using your operator or you're just using the Drifter themselves, you're in his world now. His reality based on the void. So when you leave that location to go anywhere, like specifically to go to your dojo, you then exit out of that world from that planet. You go back to your ship, so on and so forth. So that's the only way to physically get out of that world and back into your original solar map, is to leave his location, go to your dojo or go to a planet, and then return back to your ship. But this is a fun little experiment for me, because I've never actually done it before. I've just heard that it was done before. Whether it'll take me back to my actual ship in space, or take me back to the ship that's on Earth, is a different story. So you see, it took me back to the ship that's on Earth. It didn't take me back to the ship that's in space. So the only way to actually physically leave Earth and go to a place in space because regardless of what mission I do here, regardless of what location I go here, it will still take me back to my ship, which is going to be on Earth. I have to physically leave this place. And the only way to physically leave this place, I'm assuming, is to, there's a button that tells me to Operator. Operator mode. So here's the thing. This is what I'm going to do. In order for my ship to actually get out of this planet and to leave this planet, I'm going to go to the solar rail. I'm going to take the ship to the solar rail. By going to the solar rail, it's going to go into an animation set. It's going to physically leave into an animation set. So regardless of what I do, since the ship is now traveling to the solar rail, it's now on Earth. It's now going to be docked at the solar rail, which means it's now leaving that planet and going to the solar rail. So it's not selecting a mission or a dojo and then leaving the dojo and going back to your ship, which is on Earth. The actual physical ship is leaving now from its original dock on Earth. So I believe what that guy was saying, he actually meant this, to actually make your ship leave the planet.
Permission to board granted.
Alright. So now I'll leave the solar rail. I'll return back to my ship. It should return me back into space and not on Earth. If that's not the case, then there's a huge issue with regards to switching from one world to the next. Alright, so that's an issue. Okay, so alright, so now I see the sentient ships. Let me see if I see this cool fortress. Okay, now I see the Kuva Fortress. Alright. Alright, so, but I physically want to leave this location. I want to get out of this location. I want to leave this planet. So there has to be a way to actually leave the planet itself. And go back into space. See, because you can't do it from your options menu, and you can't do it from navigation. And you can't do it from equipment. And obviously you can't do it from appearance. So none of that stuff is associated whatsoever with actually leaving this planet. So the only thing I could guess in order to actually leave this planet is Once I go to navigation, I navigate to physically leave this planet and dock my ship somewhere else, is to go back to the solar rail, go back to the solar rail, go into a mission, do said mission, and then exit out. And once that mission is done, it will now put me back into space. Hopefully that's the case. If that's not the case, then once you're on this planet, once you're in the Drifter's campsite, that means you cannot leave the Drifter's campsite.
I am glad you are back. Cephalon Ordis certainly has many opinions.
So what I'm going to do, since I'm at the solar rail, I'm going to try a mission, quick capture mission, on another planet that's not associated with the Drifter. Let's say, let me pick a solar rail on solar rail on Eris. Alright, so I'm gonna pick a solar rail. I'm gonna go from solar rail to solar rail. Maybe that's the problem. It's that the solar rail that is on Earth is still attached to Earth. So, and the Drifter location is still on Earth. Now I'm going to do a mission on Eris. Because it's still attaching me as towards Earth. So I'm going to do this quick capture. Then the last location I will remember is Eris. So hopefully that'll take me back into space and remove me from the actual Drifter campsite on Earth.
You are here to find our target and bring them to the extraction point. Happy hunting.
Will you help us, Tenno? In our cause?
Target located. Bring them in.
Not gonna happen.
Mission complete. The captive has been escorted to the extraction point. Well done. A juggernaut nearby? It will only attack when it senses high concentrations of infested blood. Slow the fight if you want it to go away. I am no longer detecting signs of a juggernaut. Move on. You are safe.
Alright, so we'll see what happens here. Will it take me back into space? Or will it take me back into the relay? If it takes me back into the relay and I leave the relay, once I leave the relay, will I be back in space? That's the main thing I want to know. Okay, so now I'm going to leave the relay. And the last actual location that I actually did, mission location, was on Eris. So the last solar rail indication location should be Eris. Yeah, so they really have to do something about this. They really have to do something about this. Because there's no way that I will come back here. Once I left this location, I left this location from navigation. I left here. And the last node recognized was here. And I left that location. I went to a different solar rail map location. So on and so forth. So I physically left this location. So the only way I could see for me to actually leave this present location right now is for me to log out of the game, log back into the game, and exit out. And exit this location. The only way for me to be back in space is for me to turn off the game and then log back into the game, and then it'll put me automatically in space. If that's the case. If that's not the case, then they really have a bug here, or an issue here. Now to them it might not be an issue because the game is still playing, but if I want to actually be in space, like physically want to actually be in space, back in space, and not here, I want to leave from this location. There is no actual leave this hideout or exit this place. There's no leave button to leave here and to go back into space. And that's something that they've never done. That's something that they have to do. They have to fix that. There's tons of bugs for New War that's still going on. And that's one of the main ones. And possibly I'm going to clip this. Actually, I'm going to clip it. So I quickly clipped it and made sure I did a video clip, and then that'll be the end of that. So if they say anything with regards to this, then I'll show them that video clip. If they say there's nothing wrong, you just have to go to certain locations, I'll make sure to indicate that video clip. So that's it for this video. That was the New War, and that's our new location. This is the new location part of New War. And it was pretty fun quest. Not better than Sacrifice, but it is better than the War Within. It was a long quest. It was very entertaining. The first 25 minutes was good. The second half was okay. That's kind of slow, and leading up to the end was kind of lackluster, except for the final part. So it was very high at the beginning, and then it went mid, and then it went low towards the ending. So it was an okay story. It was bad towards the end though, but it was an okay story. It's still better than War Within story, but it's not better than Sacrifice story. And yes, The War Within had a lot of great stuff towards their story, but not only was it short, but a lot of stuff felt unnecessary and unneeded. Whereas you got a lot of different aspects and contexts that for what was going to, or should I say, what's going to happen in the future of Warframe, where they're going to go with Veso, with the Grineer, with Teshin and the Dax, and how all of this is going to be leading up into the epilogue of New War and the Deveri Paradox and Angels of Zariman, how those things are going to look. And based on the feedback they're going to get from the fans and from partners, decisions to make to push Warframe further than it is right now, because he has to keep pushing further and explore new avenues and new horizons to stay in the business of video game multiplayer business. Just as long as League of Legends is in there, as long as Smite is in there and they keep doing, as long as people from digital streams keep doing what they're supposed to doing to improve this game for the next generation, it's going to be fine. And once they have cross-platform and cross-play comes into play, they're going to be around for quite some time. But they need to improve the actual story of this game and actual functionalities of actually things that people want to see, people want to do. You can't just listen to what your fans saying and then add what you can logically do based on your capabilities, because whether you could logically do that and whether you can't do something is not what everyone wants. And I mean everyone, I'm not talking about a few people, majority of everyone. So until they get the right people that can do those things, it's just going to be a slow climb until they get to that level. They have to, if the majority wants something, then that's what the majority wants to see. Otherwise they move on to other things. And they need to bring back trials and do it in a way that's be more creative with it and bring certain things to it, such as having your own Grineer troops, or having your own Corpus troops, or having your own Dax army, or setting your loadout for these different type of people, operating systems, and so on and so forth. That might seem like a huge task, but it's simply a replication of what you were doing with your arsenal, with your Warframe. It's just, it'll be a separate section rather than everything totally dedicated towards the Warframe itself. It can be dedicated towards a Grineer army, Corpus army, so on and so forth, with individual leaders. Unlike, there's no leader within Warframe because they're automatons. But if you have leaders, protagonists for each of these divisions, you now have characters within Warframe other than the operator himself, like physical characters or leaders or protagonists, or rather than just the frames themselves, like a strong story based on strong individuals. So that's it for Warframe. I'm out, and that's my opinion on where Warframe should go from here on out, moving forward. Experimentation with regards to mechanics and gameplay is the primary thing, and how to make Warframe far more entertaining than it is now. That's what they need to do.